The Super Eagles versus Morocco was a very interesting game, tactically and even visually. Except there were not a lot of entertaining parts, especially as we didn't get to see goals.
The game was a nail biter. The Super Eagles fought very hard, but unfortunately they lost to Morocco on penalties. It was a very tough and tight match. Both teams creating chances, but couldn't lead to a goal, which led to extra time and then penalty.
I don't think anyone can complain about the lack of quality. I think both the Nigeria squad and the Morocco squad, they both were going for it.
What a great performance from the Super Eagles.
Outstanding game from the entire defensive line, led by Calvin Bassey. Wonderful, wonderful. I was super impressed by his performance. Among others, Ajayi, even Frank, Oyeka, to Bruno, all of them were quite excellent, right? It was a good game.
What do I think went wrong on the night? I don't think a lot went wrong. I think both had a game plan and approached the game with like mutual respect. I think both were very cautious when they didn't have the ball, and when they did have the ball, they both were going for it.
A case of tactical rigidity. I do believe that the technical crew, the coach and his crew, were not flexible enough. Clearly, the Moroccans came with a plan to stifle the midfield for the Nigerian, hence hindering our creative force in Iwobi, which clearly showed that it was the one creative channel that we have.
The midfield was very, very porous because of the captain was not available, who happens to be Ndidi. Iwobi could not conduct the midfield on its own because he has had several experiences playing alongside Ndidi, and we missed him.
I do think that the officiating was really poor, and it seems it looked intentional. I mean, no yellow cards on the Moroccan side, kicking the ball away after the whistle, stopping a possible attack. And then we had silly yellow cards as well. I mean, if we had qualified for the final, Bassi would have missed it. Very unnecessary. The official, even the commentators were laughing at some point.
One thing I also see in the match was that the officiating was more or less like in favor of Morocco, but then Morocco played well, and I feel like penalty is a game of it's for anybody, so I believe they deserve the win.
It seemed like this is how it has been for Morocco from the start. I do not think it was a fair game. Fair play to Nigeria. I think they did really well. I think they handled it really well. I mean, it was frustrating, but nobody really lashed out.
Nigeria's attacking strategy seemed to falter, and Morocco's defensive game plan actually worked well because they were able to isolate Victor Osimhen, and then Lookman had little chances. So I guess Morocco was able to utilize their game plan, defensive game plan, and even their attack because they played well.
As regards to what went wrong for the game, especially for the Super Eagles, I do believe it was a case of tactical rigidity. I do believe that the technical crew, the coach and his crew, were not flexible enough. Clearly, the Moroccans came with a plan to stifle the midfield for the Nigerian, hence hindering our creative force in Iwobi, which clearly showed that it was the one creative channel that we have. One would have expected a Lookman in the position that he was in, to find a way to enter into spaces, dangerous spaces, find his way in between the line, receive the ball when he can, turn, face, and create chances for Osimhen and Ako. But I wouldn't totally put the blame on him. Of course, he's not naturally an attacking midfielder, right? Again, it falls back to the technical crew to say, we are not able to attack centrally like we have always done. Iwobi is being stifled transition is poor. What can we do, right? One would think, oh, we have electrifying wingers. We have the likes of Chukwueze. We had the likes of Simon Moses, who eventually came in. We have the likes of the Sevilla man in Ejuke, who is also a very quick, pacey, and electrifying winger. I think we could have troubled the Moroccans, even created chances crossing, with the area prowess of Osimhen, and Akko, even who, struggled to even find the ball at all. Right, we could have created more chances from the flats, especially as the midfield was totally engulfed by the Moroccans. So I think, again, tactically we were a bit too rigid.
And one thing also important to notice, the refereeing was, it was not really okay. It was in favor of the Morocco. So that's really went wrong.
Penalties. Everyone knows penalties is 50-50. So I don't think a lot went wrong on the night. I think it was a really good game. And I think that the Nigerian squad should be really proud of themselves.
Personally, I do not like to put blames on people. I would want to think everyone did their best as with what was at their disposal, both physically and mentally, right? But again, if you look at how rigid the technical team was, not even trying to look for other ways to transition into attack. In fact, it was so bad that when they eventually took off alcohol, was struggling in the game. Instead of putting a proper winger, right, in my own opinion again, they brought in Bashiru, who was a midfielder, right, who ended up playing on the flank, right. It was weird for me.
Always be blamed, for the loss. I personally, I would blame, the penalty takers. That penalty seemed unprofessional, at that level for Samuel Chukwueze and Bruno Yemechi. That was not part of it. I would blame them for the loss. I would.
If we are to blame anybody, we're going to blame who missed the penalty, right? I don't think anybody missed any goal scoring chance. We didn't concede any goal. It was a solid team display. Chukwueze coming on and fresh leg and playing a penalty like that. I mean, why? I think Lukman, Osimhen, the players that had played 120 minutes. Osimhen was taken off late on, but Lukman had played 120 minutes and was still on, but did not take a penalty. Why? I think the coach intentionally allowed the first two penalty takers to be fresh legs, and then for Chukwueze to play the ball like that, I really think that, I don't think anyone is wrong for calling him out. Bruno had a fine game, 120 minutes, probably tired legs, I don't know, poor decision making, but Chukwueze, that was horrible.
Yes, I would say only this absence, had a lot of impact in that match. Because I believe his presence would have allowed Alex Iwobi to function very well, would be able to make some attacks and all that. But I believe his absence, played a whole lot on the Super Eagles play in the midfield.
Yeah, I think any team would miss their captain. I think apart from what he does on the pitch, I think apart from his ball playing and what he offers the team on and off the ball, his leadership was also missed. But I don't think Onyeka did bad. He did okay defensively. On the ball, the build-up maybe a bit poor. But we've seen him play for Club Brugge. We see how the team sets up. We see that he can play. I watched his game against Barcelona. He did very well. Hardly lost the ball. But I think yesterday he showed that he likes a bit more freedom. He wants to be able to attack more. And I think the only time that he really stood out was when the team was advancing, maybe on a counter, when he had got in behind the opposite Morocco's midfield. But apart from that, I don't think he did bad. I think defensively he did okay. but maybe he stayed too long on the ball a couple of times and he lost possession. But Onyedika is a really good player, and I think he will come good for Nigeria.
Like I've said, Ndidi was missed. He was totally missed by not just the national team, but missed by the whole nation, Nigeria. Yes, Onyedika is a very good player, a prolific player, midfielder, and yes, but we cannot dispute the fact that Ndidi is more of experience to him in terms of nation and club. I stand to be corrected on that. Ndidi was missed, yes. Onyedika, he tried, played his best, but like I've said, the build-up was slow, and there is this lack of communication between him and Iwobi. The both of them were on the midfield yesterday. So because of the breakdown in communication, the ball was not getting to our striker, not even the wingers. You see, Adam was almost off yesterday. Osimhen was almost off, and all of that. If you watch very well, the midfield was choked. They were not even allowing the midfielders to think on what to do or what not to do. The ball was just so fast. They were just rushing down to the midfield because they know that is the NG house, that is our strength. So they tried to knock us off from our strength, and we were almost left with zero options. That was what happened. And I'm very sure if Ndidi was present yesterday in that match, probably with his experience, he would have improvised on what to do and what not to do. Find how they can break even. That is what I feel. He was missed by the nation, not just the team.
Honestly, I do believe, or I do think Chukwueze deserves a lot of what he's getting on social media.
Anything Chukwueze is getting right now, as long as it is not, death threats, threats to his family, I think he deserves it.
The reason is because I think people who have the opportunity, the privilege, right? I think privilege is the right word to represent our nation, have to take it very seriously, because first of all, you are representing 200 million people who are invested in what you are, or in the outcome of what you are doing, emotionally, psychologically, right? And then you shouldn't be lackadaisic, as everybody has been saying, right? Again, it was appalling.
Well, penalty for me is a game of nobody, and there's the possibility of scoring and not scoring, and then losing penalties, it's part of the game. I wouldn't blame a player for losing a penalty, but Chukwueze's performance, that penalty was really unprofessional, and then it looked like someone who didn't have the interest of the team at that time. So I would say he probably deserves the vilifications he's facing right now from people and all that, because his behavior during that penalty was really not part of it. So I'd say probably deserves it.
You should expect this from the fans, from Nigerians, because that is his profession. He knows there must be a backlash, there must be pep talk, there must be criticism and mysticism online and all of that.
I think it was a horrible penalty. The player that I was rooting for, when Dele Bashiru came on, I was like, why not Chukwueze instead? We have tall players, we need players that can deliver into the box, and Chukwueze has that. And I was like, why is he's not getting enough minutes? And for him to come on and then just disappoint like that, I mean, a professional player that is being paid, I mean, even if CAF is owing you, even if the Nigeria Federation is owing you, I mean, Didi had promised, you had people promising you money for, I mean, you're being paid millions, you're being paid by your club, you're being paid by the nation. Why would you play a penalty like that with so much? I mean, if there's a word, what would I say? I mean, you just did not care. He played it like it was none of his business, like it didn't matter if he missed or not. So anything that he's getting right now, I do think that he deserves it. I think he was to blame, and that was a horrible penalty. I mean, you can play a penalty really well and miss it, and people would say, yeah, you actually did play well, but he did not play the penalty well. He didn't play it well. It was horrible.